in an effort to honor your timeliness, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I just told Mr. Booth, I crushed that and ended right at 7 o'clock. So I know it's not really about me, but there's a lot of information and it's hard to really gauge how long. Okay, welcome. What do we have in the room now? We have people who are new to CCP, who are ready to hear more, and we have students who have taken CCP courses possibly in freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, and they're here again because this meeting is actually required every year. So thank you for coming and listening again. I do know that you've heard, many of you, almost all of the things that are in here, but I appreciate your willingness to come. When you came in, Mr. Booth gave you a couple of documents. The one that has model pathways I'll talk about at the end. The important one is what's called your counseling session document. This is required by state law for you. This meeting, an advising session, is required by state law in order for you to participate. And so in order for us to track that you have done that, the state has developed a counseling session document. Starting this year, schools were not allowed to alter that document at all, except to add our logo. And boy, in the 11th hour, I was able to get the new logo and put it on there. So we're trying to honor Mrs. Brinker and all her hard work with the rebranding on that. So this document will be important for a student and parent to sign. What are you signing? You're signing that when you came to an advising meeting, you heard all of the things that are listed on there. I will, between the meetings, say all of those things. If you're a returning student, though, I don't require you to hear all about the eligibility and the admissions process because you've done it before, and it's a lot. So, okay, new quotes. I have new quotes for you. So the first one is from a parent of some CCS grads, so I will let you read that. I want you to hear from people other than me the value of this program. Here's a new one from a student. I sent out a text to the parent who was a board member and to a student and said, I'm about next week to have my new CCP meeting. Remember those? Is there anything that you want to say about why you did CCP? And then I took what they sent me back by text and I just typed it directly in here. I want you to understand the value. I can tell you about the value from my 4 boys, 3 of which graduated college in 3 years. The 4th one did not because he was on a sequential 5-year program that couldn't be altered. But in his last year, he only had to take 6 credit hours each semester and worked a part-time job. That's valuable as well, right? So I'll talk more about that. Okay. Oh, there's a lot of words on here. So applying for funding. I do send out an email, and I try to really encourage families to complete this process because you have to do it every year. You have to fill out a new request for funding every year. You use the same Ohio ID account that the parents started, but then you have to apply for funding every year. There is a funding manual. That funding manual will be posted on a link to the funding manual will be posted on our website. Right now, the funding manual that is online says that it is for the 24-25 school year. So I don't know if they're going to update it for next year. If they don't, then I will pretty soon be sending you that funding manual or linking you that funding manual. You also need, students, a new college application a new college acceptance letter. The letter will be sent directly from the college. It says it's a letter of continued acceptance, something like that. You have to check in your email for these. It will be sent to the email address that the student used when they applied, also to their college account. So they have an email account through the college as well. Make sure you get those. You're going to need to complete that by April 1st. Those of you that just came in the room, most of you have done that before. Okay, this is the first time I put this up here because I really wanted to show you a couple of things. This is, once you open it, these are each different tabs on the account, or on your Ohio ID account. Right now it's on the application tab, and the reason I have it here is I want to show you that when you apply for funding, and if you are currently sitting in here as a homeschool family that applies for homeschool funding, this does not apply to you, but for everybody else that is a CCS student, you want to enter this number. You enter this number so that your funding letter will appear for us. Now, it prompts you to type in your school. You don't have to memorize that number. But sometimes I had a few students this past year who I said, it looks like you didn't get funding. And the family said, I'm looking at my funding letter, and they were granted funding. And it is because they hadn't entered this number. Now, you can still go on there and enter this number right here. So they just went on, they opened the application, they added the number, and then we could see it. I just want you to see what that looks like. This student, for example, requested 22 credit hours, and they were awarded 12. And then this shows the colleges or universities that they are asking to attend, basically, through the state. So you just go through these tabs, fill them out. The funding manual is excellent at explaining this. Funds are limited. I already mentioned this in the first part, and if you're a returning student, you already know this. This is a strange one. The state has decided to award funds in 4 credit hour increments. That's what they call it. So if you ask for 3, then they'll give you 3. But if you ask for 6, they may only give you 4. Now, I'm not saying you have to ask for it in 4 credit hour increments, but for example, our 9th grade students almost all receive 4 credit hours. Then, once all students receive 4, they go back and they start with seniors, and they do give seniors more funding, thankfully, than other students. But I don't know if I have seen students get 20 credit hours. But it's been a little while because more and more people are participating in the program. You also have to have enough credit hours to pay for the entire course. So if a course is 5 credit hours and you were awarded 4, they won't pay 4 and you pay 1. You have to pay the whole 5. I didn't make the rule. But I'm just reporting it. I often say that I'm not the inventor of the rule, I'm not the writer of the rule, I'm the reporter of the rule. So you'll want to make sure you use those funds to your advantage, figuring that out. So colleges will bill the family automatically for if it is self-pay, they'll bill them during the semester. That bill will come to their student account on their college account. You don't get letters about that. So the student will have to open that up. The student will have to look at it. Now, I'll talk a little bit about FERPA in a minute, but I also in January had a parent come to me and say, my student is very busy. I can't get on their account to pay their bill. They won't let me get on. Yes, it is a student account. They don't let the parent get on. And she said, but my student's so busy, I can't, we don't have time to connect, and he doesn't want to open it. And here's what I said, parents. This is exactly what I said. Do you pay for their cell phone? Just take it. And in a day, they'll sit down and open up their student account, and you can pay the bill, and you can give them their phone back. Okay? This isn't, you know how to parent. But I'm just saying these things are important to be able to do this. So again, I mentioned the cost. I have to change that 66 to a 65 at some point for Cedarville. But you can see the drastic reduction in prices that we have with our partner colleges. You can attend other colleges, but we do get a steal, okay? So how many CCP courses should students take? Oh, juniors, students who are going to be juniors and seniors next year. I want you to hear this. A full-time college student takes between 12 and 18 credit hours. And they're not in class from 8 to 3 every day. And they're likely not playing a sport or in the drama program at their college. They have a lot more hours to invest outside of the classroom. So how many should they take? I strongly recommend that juniors and seniors really watch how many CCP courses they are taking. If they're taking 18 credit hours, they shouldn't be taking very many high school classes in addition to that. Now, students, you know that our usual rule is if you're a junior, you can have one study hall. If you're a senior in your 8-bell schedule, you can have one study hall and one TA bell. This is an exception that we make. If you are taking 4 or more college courses and you need more time for that, then you need to let me know, and we will work with the Student Services Department. We don't want you to feel like you're taking 18 credit hours and taking 3 or 4 high school classes as well. Okay, I really strongly try and say that because you also do need to sleep. Sleep is important. It's how you form memories. It's how I teach A and P, so I'll go off of that soapbox. But you need to sleep, and you need to just sit down and rest, and you need to spend time with your family. So this is especially important for students that play multiple sports, if they're in the drama programs, work part-time jobs. Parents, help them with this time management. We don't want them to be overwhelmed. We want them to enjoy their high school experience. They're not required to be full-time college students while they're also in high school. Students, remember these are college courses. If you know that your select sport is going to take you away from 5 to 10 days of the year, it's really hard to make up that college level work. You would not go to a professor and say, I'm going to be out for 5 days next week. How can I make that up? Now, of course students are going to be sick. Of course they're going to have to need days off. I'm not saying that, but please consider this, that it can be hard to make, it is harder to make up college work, okay? When you attend, how does the college know if you received funding? So you apply for funding. You will receive a funding letter in email in early May. But how does the college know if you're paying with state funds or if you are self-paying for this course? We, just to make this easier, and honestly I think this is easier for us and for the colleges, okay? We will download, we meaning Mrs. Miller in the Student Services Department, will sit on our Ohio ID portal and one at a time download every funding letter for a CCS student. And then she will batch them into a PDF and she will send them to the partner college. You do not have to send this. We are so appreciative that they are willing to do that because it takes out one whole step for you to constantly be sending in your funding letter. Now, if you decide to take an online course at Sinclair College or at Wright State or somewhere else, then you will need to send them your funding letter. This is a change. The colleges, starting next year, this is an internal change Mrs. Miller and I have decided to make. Starting next year, we will send your funding letters, and the colleges are going to automatically bill for your fall semester classes first. Then, if there is funding left, they will bill for your spring semester, and we will work with the colleges so that they know if there's not enough, we have a good relationship with them and share some documents there. If you want to save funding for a spring semester course, because you know that you want to take a University of Cincinnati course and it is $125 per credit hour, and you'd rather your state-funded hours pay for that, you need to tell us. In the past few years, we have sat down and figured it out for every student. This program has really exploded, and it has actually been difficult just to manage with the drops and the adds of classes. So if you want to organize your funding differently than bill for fall semester, what's left goes to spring, you can figure that out and let us know, and then we're happy to communicate that, okay? What are the consequences of underperforming? What if you don't do well? I told the people that were here in the first hour that when I do this presentation, there is a list of things that I'm required by the Ohio Revised Code to tell you. And this is one of them. I used to skim over this more, but we, in the last few years, have had several students who have struggled in CCP courses and have resulted in some underperforming. So let me tell you a few things. If you used state funds, you may be asked to reimburse the state for courses if the student does not earn a passing grade or they withdraw after the no-fault deadline. You may be asked. The state is really busy. And I've had students' families, because our families have integrity. Even the colleges will say, the families are asking me, when am I going to get my bill? Because I'm ready to pay my bill. And Cincinnati State will say, you have the most responsible families. We're going to send them out in a few weeks. Just tell them it's coming. So we've had some families say, I was expecting a bill from the state to reimburse the state for that withdrawal, and I never got it. Who do I contact at the state so I can pay them back? If they want you to pay them back, they will contact you. There really isn't anybody to reach out to and say, and when I reached out once, the state said, I can't believe somebody's asking to pay us their bill. We're really busy, and if we don't reach out, it's okay. So I'm just reporting that to you. The exception is if a student is considered economically disadvantaged, they are not asked to reimburse for the cost of the course. Okay, there is something called College Credit Plus probation. I have had to place students on it before. You are placed on it for these two reasons. If that happens, then I contact you, we meet together, I send you and your family a probation letter. It happens very rarely, but if it happens, I do pull the student into my room and we have a conversation. Because things do happen. We have all made mistakes. And we have all dropped the ball at some point in time. We're not characterized by that, so probation is not a permanent thing. If students are on probation, the very next semester, they're allowed to only enroll in one CCP course. This is the state's way of protecting the student from earning D's and F's or withdrawing over and over. We want to protect them. Now, we really guide students here. So, I see every student's name if they're in an online course, whatever course they're in, I study that. So I know, when a student is there. So if they are on probation, you can see what the consequences are there. It happens rarely, but if a student does not come off of probation by meeting those, then they are in CCP dismissal. We have never had a student on dismissal. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. But we have never had a student yet on dismissal, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this slide. It's here because it has to be. Okay, you can appeal being on probation or dismissal. There is a process. This is governed by the state. You can see the Ohio Revised Code and Ohio Administrative Code numbers at the bottom. Again, if you have questions about this, please let me know. Okay. There's a lot of information here about underperforming students, but this one I do want to tell you and pause here. because I really appreciated working with somebody from Cincinnati State to better understand this, because I'm not in the college financial world. But here's what I learned. In order to qualify for college financial aid, students must meet these 3 requirements. They must maintain a 2.0 in their college courses. They must complete at least 67% of attempted college credits. A few years ago, we had a student who became overwhelmed over Thanksgiving break. She was taking 4 CCP courses, and she just was frustrated and really struggling. And so her mom said, you know what, to protect you, I want you to withdraw from all of your college courses. So that weekend, she withdrew from all of her college courses, all 4 of them. I didn't find out about it until she had a W in those courses. She was a junior, and we had to really work hard the following year, because she had not completed 67% of the courses that she wanted to take. We worked with Cincinnati State. We developed a plan. She's actually a Cincinnati State student right now. So I will work with students. I suggest don't withdraw until you've talked to the teacher in the course and talked to me. I usually catch those, but I just want you to know. And the students can take up to 150% of their degree credits. You can't stay in college forever and keep getting financial aid, apparently. So you have to, depending on what your major is, this is kind of a stopgap in place. So the only thing I want to say here is we want students to be successful in their CCP courses. We don't want them just to take them in order to just check off a box. We want them to be successful. And for that reason, if a student earns a D, an F, or withdraws from a course, and there is a sequential course to that, if a student earns a D in English 101, we do not allow them to take English 102, because we want them to be ready and we want them to succeed. And if they earned a D in English 101, that is telling us it is not best for them to take English 102. So this is a rule we have here on our campus. Okay, student athletes. Some things have changed as of last May. They are good changes. Most of you may not even know the old rules, so I'm not going to go into it. But when this is posted, if you want to know the new eligibility guidelines, there is a link there. Once it is posted, that link, I checked it, will take you to the new OSHA guidelines for academic eligibility. They were updated in May of 2024. It was a wonderful update because students no longer need to try and get first quarter and third quarter grades from their college professors, which they used to have to do. So, and then the only other thing about athletics is that if you were ineligible at the end of the school year, let's say your GPA was too low or you earned an F in a course in the spring semester, you cannot take a summer course to get yourself back into eligibility. So that is a state rule. Okay, this is exciting, and this is not a lot of students, but we are having more and more students show interest in this. This is called the Ohio Transfer 36. We work really closely with Cincinnati State on this. They are the ones that have brought this to our attention. They are the ones that track it. It's a lot of work I think Mrs. Kowalski probably tracks that. But what is the Ohio Transfer 36? We've all heard about gen eds, general education courses, and all majors have them and all colleges have them. I majored in biology at the University of Cincinnati, still had to take a whole year of Spanish. I still had to take a fine arts, music appreciation course. I had to take history 101 and 102 because those were general education requirements. There is now something the state has put together called the Ohio Transfer 36 that is a bundle, if you think about it that way. It's a bundle of your gen eds. And there is a list, there's a chart that tells students what this is. What would they have to take in order to meet the Ohio Transfer 36? What is useful about the Ohio Transfer 36 is that depending on the college you go to, you can present your Ohio Transfer 36 certificate, and you have finished the college gen eds. They cannot even say, sorry, you have to take this extra course for us. So 2 years ago, we had a graduate who completed the Ohio Transfer 36. He went to Miami University. He met with his advisor. He presented his certificate for the Ohio Transfer 36 and instantly started on his major levels classes. This isn't, though, best for everybody. So, example, nursing. Nursing is a very scripted major, and they don't take as many gen eds. My youngest son is now a nurse at Cincinnati Children's Hospital, but when he was in high school and we were looking into nursing programs, we noticed he doesn't have to take a social studies elective. There are many electives, so depending on your college major, I don't want everybody to think this is best and I'm going to do it. It's not always best. So this is something where you can ask me, we can talk to Mrs. Kowalski from Cincinnati State, and she actually uses the classes that they take at Cedarville. She looks at their transcript if they take online classes from UC or anywhere else, and she puts those together to see if the Ohio Transfer 36 works for them. And she'll honestly say, you know, you want to major in nursing? Don't do the Ohio Transfer 36. That's not what's best for you. So what we want is what's best for them, right? Schedule changes. Students, I would like to say, I think we had a record number. Mr. Booth and Mrs. Raby processed a record number of schedule changes in January because students fill out their request for their first and second semester courses in February of the year before. You're deciding what you want for the whole year. And believe it or not, you change your mind, and that's okay. As it pertains to CCP, though, we are following the college rules. So, you can drop a course within 14 days, or if the college has a different date, with no repercussions. It is considered no fault. It's like you never were in there. Okay, you might get in a class and you look at it and think, this class is not for me. You can drop it within that timeline. You can tell, and here's the beauty, if you're taking it here at CCS, Mrs. Miller just simply takes that process or the course you asked, and she communicates directly to the college on your behalf because we work with the rosters with them at Cincinnati State and Cedarville. So, you know, we're constantly communicating with Tara at Cincinnati State and Emma at Cedarville, and they are processing our requests when we ask them to. If you drop a course, though, please do it early, because we want you to be able to be in another course here at CCS. Okay, so those are things you can do. Mrs. Raby meets with you, Mr. Booth meets with you, I can talk to you. So what happens, though, if it's after 14 days and you realize, oh, this course was a little bit more challenging than I realized, or you just got behind the 8 ball and you just didn't do the work on time, and now you're sitting with a poor grade. Okay, first of all, before any of these dates, I send you a reminder. I am allowed to send this reminder to both students and parents. So I will send you a reminder. Guess what? The Cincinnati State drop deadline is coming up. You'll get a reminder about that tomorrow. So make sure that you're looking. Make sure that you're looking at your emails, students. Okay, you're the college student. You have to pay attention to these, right? Okay. In order to earn credits, you have to successfully complete the course. If a student fails or withdraws from the course, the college transcript and the high school transcript will reflect the final grade. If you withdraw, well, let me start with the grade of F since it's first. If a student fails a course, first, just hear me say this. Before the withdrawal date, I email every CCP teacher in this building, and I say, do you have any students that are at risk of earning a D or an F? And if they do, they will say, I say, if they're getting a low C and below, please tell me who they are. And then I meet with the student, and I say, it is better to withdraw from this course than it is to earn a D or an F. Now, parents, I cannot send you an email that says your student is currently earning a 66%, because they are the high school student, and I'll talk about FERPA in just a minute. So I do tell the student, here's what I had a conversation in December. I see, your teacher told me you're currently earning a 63%. Okay, that's currently a D, but it's a low D, and you don't want a D on your high school transcript for this. So make sure you go home and talk to your parent about this, because they're going to see it on your report card anyway. This isn't going to stay a secret, right? And so I encourage students to do that. If they earn a grade of F, it factors into their high school GPA, and the family may be asked to reimburse the state. If they withdraw, it confers no credit. It doesn't factor into the GPA. The family may, though, be asked to reimburse the state for the hours that were used. Even though a grade of D confers credit, students are strongly advised to withdraw if they're going to earn a D. I've had students say, Mrs. Smearsall, I'm going to pull that up. And I'll say, have you talked to the teacher? Is it mathematically possible? So I had a student in December who the teacher said, I'm really worried, and I met with the student, and he said, I'm allowed to turn some things in late, I'm going to get the grade up. And I said, I want you to go talk to the teacher, I want you to work out the math, come back to me tomorrow and tell me if it is mathematically possible for you to pass this class. And if it's not, withdraw. Most students have one or more withdrawals on their college transcript. It's okay, but it's better to withdraw, okay? Because whatever grade you earn, you will have that. If you withdraw, you have a W on your transcript here as well, but boy, that's better than a D or an F. Okay, reminder about the role of parents. In high school, you are their strong advocate. In college, they are independent learners. There is a law called FERPA, the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, and it states that students' educational records are protected from parents once they become a college student, even if they're 14. That means that I can't email you about their grade. They are a college student. That means when we hold conferences here, the teacher, even though they're also a high school teacher, if they're teaching a college class here, they cannot meet with you unless the student is present or on the phone. And first thing, I've only done this a few times. I teach the CCP biology courses, and the student will be there, and the first thing I do, I turn to the student and say, is it okay with you that I am talking about these things in front of your parent? So, depending on their answer, which is usually yes, because they're sitting right next to them, then we can talk about those things. Okay, so this is important. Students, talk to your parents. If you're struggling, tell them. It's okay. Tell them. Even though they can't see it, these grades will not be on Schoology. The information and assignments, parents, you won't know when they have a test unless they tell you. But you don't usually need to know exactly when they have tests, but you can file paperwork and documentation to, it's not called, what is it? Thank you, a FERPA release form. Parents, if you that is completely done between you and the college, so that is something that you are allowed to do, okay? Oh, wait, All right, that doesn't matter. I'm about to go to it anyway. Okay, I said this in the first session, but I want to say it again. It is truly amazing, the program that we have at CCS for CCP. We are now actually considered a satellite campus of Cincinnati State because we have so many classes. There are teachers here who have put in the work. Some of them just finished last summer, where they say, in order to help the students, I will take the extra work necessary to be approved as an adjunct professor through the college. We appreciate them. It is astonishing. We have the largest program around. I get contacted sometimes, when I'm at a conference and I say, we have 20 embedded classes in our campus, and usually the people at the table will kind of turn to me and say, how big is your school? And I say, we graduate between 60 and 75 students a year. And they say, you have 20 CCP classes? Yes. We have chosen CCS, directed by the board. This was not me, it was directed by the board, decided 8 or probably 9 years ago that this was going to be an important initiative for our families. So, with that in mind, let me show you the courses that we're offering next year, and they're very, very similar to this year. So these are the courses that are taught by CCS teachers serving as Cincinnati State adjunct professors. This is the first screen. There's going to be another one. You can also see the grade levels. Now, we have been very intentional about this. Although this program is open to students in grades 7 through 12, on our campus, we do not have any courses that 7th and 8th graders can sign up for and here. We just don't have room for them, and we just don't think it's best. 9th grade students, we allow them, I shouldn't say we allow, it's not we allow, they are allowed to take more. On our campus, we offer one CCP option for our 9th grade students. This is because we want them to get their feet wet and we want them to be successful. So the course that is open to 9th graders is foreign language. Now you'll see up there it says that you could take any of these 4 levels, 9th graders. That is just depending on what you're ready for. Most freshmen are ready for Spanish, either 101 if they've never taken it before, or 102. There is a change next year. If you are currently in high school Spanish 1, and then you want to move to the CCP route for Spanish, you will automatically be registered for Spanish 102. You will not repeat. There's only some students that are doing that, but that won't happen next year. We have had students transfer in, or they are native speakers that are, take some of the upper levels in 9th grade. That's rare, but they meet with Senora Hyde, our amazing Spanish teacher here. I actually think she teaches more students Spanish than the campus of Cincinnati State does, because she teaches all 4 levels. It's amazing offering for her. While I'm here, I do want to say Spanish 101 and 102 are year-long courses. This is something that was, Senora Hyde she has also been a college professor. She has looked at a lot of things, and Cincinnati State has allowed her to continue offering those in a year-long format because if she were standing here, here's what she would say. It's not about learning the content. It's about your experience and exposure constantly to the content. So speaking it and learning it for a year means there's a lot more hours that you're working with Spanish. So those 2 classes are year-long courses, which means they're officially on your transcript at the end of spring. You won't see anything on your report card for them right away. Spanish 201 and 202 are offered in 1 semester. I should go back and just double check this and make sure there's nothing else I need to tell you. Okay, one important thing, I see some of my students in here right now. Biology 131 and Biology 132, which I teach, are double bell courses. If students take those, they have to leave 2 spaces in their schedule, and that's because the number of contact hours that are required for those courses, including labs, we cannot meet the minutes for the course, not hours, the minutes. We can't meet the minutes for the course unless it is a double bell. That is taught in this format. On Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I lecture for 1 bell. Second bell, the students go to study hall. On Tuesday, Thursday, they have a double bell lab. So that is a unique course, and that is how we have organized that course. The next 2, physics and engineering, are in our course catalog for next year, pending an experienced teacher who can be approved. And we have some contacts that we have been talking to lately. We want to be able to offer these courses. There honestly aren't that many engineers who come back then and teach high school physics and engineering. But there are some, and we had one for a while, Mr. Burkett, and he was amazing. We actually just had a contact from another former engineer who possibly could teach physics and engineering. So they're in there. We're planning on it. Okay? That's all I want to say about that one. Physics is also a year-long course because of the labs. Let me look here. Statistics is strongly suggested for anybody going into nursing, the medical field. That also, depending on your major, if you're planning on being an education major and you need 1 math class in college, this is a great one to take. That will count for that, or meet that requirement. Then Calculus 1 and Calculus 2, boy, are we blessed to have an amazing calculus teacher. So students are able to complete those first semester and second semester. That is Mr. Salmond who teaches the math. I teach the biology. All 3 of those social science and history courses that you see right there are taught by Mrs. Wright. Okay? And notice 10th graders, you are eligible to take the histories. Now, if you were here earlier, you heard me say that the history, if you take 1 semester, and it's 3 credit hours, you have finished 1 full credit of history, which is the graduation requirement. But most students need to finish the sequence. Again, that's an advising thing, and we can talk to you about that. We like to talk to you about that. Okay, next year we're on a rotation here. Next year we're back to English 101 and 102. Those are offered to juniors and seniors, and then I mentioned the foreign language already. These are courses that are taught here with your CCS teachers being approved Cincinnati State adjunct professors. Okay, these are the 3 courses that we're offering in partnership with Cedarville. The first 2 we have offered before. All CCS students are required to take a speech course to graduate. So many students take this Fundamentals of Speech CCP course. You will have an official Cedarville professor with a CCS instructor. That's how it is worded. Is that well worded, Shelley? Do you think that's an appropriate wording? That's okay. Well, because there's a lot that you don't. So when we offer, for example, one of the courses like speech, there is an official Cedarville instructor professor, but there is a teacher on campus instructor. Okay, thank you. Students will feel like the CCS teacher is doing that course. We also have that for personal finance. Notice sophomores that Fundamentals of Speech is open to you as well. And then next year, we are offering our first fine arts. We have a long, we really want to add a fine arts course because this is the gen ed, the general education requirement that we struggle for students who say, I've done everything else, but I don't have a fine arts course. So next year, we are offering a Cedarville course called Enjoyment of Music. It is online, but we're offering it, all the students will be in the same section and they will have a CCS proctor that will also interface with them some because we have more time. We spend more time with them. So we're excited to try this. I've asked Cedarville, hey, what about offering this one soon in the other format? So they often respond and listen. So this is what we're doing for next year. Okay, those are the courses taught in that format. I do like to at least talk about the CCP Accelerate program. This has become very popular with our juniors and seniors. We consider this a stepping stone between high school and college where we give them a little bit more independence. Okay, so students can take additional CCP courses sometimes with our partnership with Cincinnati State. So this year there's one, next year there will be one. We hope to add another one here soon if they have enough staff for us to, where the students have synchronous online communication. What that means is the students are all in a room, in Mr. Pearson's room, and the professor zooms in and he gives the instruction via Zoom. This is a great stepping stone. They're still interfacing with the professor. They have a discussion board and, on there, and sometimes he'll say, okay, I want y'all to chime in with this. And so this has been an excellent program. We really enjoy this program, and so do students. This is offered as a block in Bell 7-8. It is only available for juniors and seniors. We will offer 4 courses in these blocks. Because what we do is we have one course on. It isn't always the same day, but let me just pick these for example. We have one course that might be on Monday and Friday with the block of bells 7 and 8 together. And another course that is Tuesday and Thursday. That's a very typical college schedule. And so then the students will still meet on Wednesday for one bell. So, for example, our sociology, is anybody in here in the sociology course? All right, John, when are you guys meeting? Okay, Tuesday and Thursday during bells 7 and 8, and when do you meet on Wednesday? And then on Wednesday, they meet on bell 7. The professor doesn't zoom in on Wednesday, it's a work day. So that you'll explain or you'll understand why we do that Wednesday in just a second. So students can take one or both classes in this format. So what happens if you only take the class on Tuesday, Thursday? That means on Monday and Friday, it is up to you what you do with your time. You can have early dismissal, as long as a parent signs an early dismissal form. You can have study hall. You can be a teacher's aide. You can do some kind of service here at the school. We have a student now who has early dismissal 2 days and goes and starts their part-time job early rather than waiting until later after school. So this is our kind of stepping stone to give them some freedom as they're going. These are the courses. Now next year, our course that is with Cincinnati State via Zoom is psychology. This year it was sociology. We alternate those, which means there still need to be more. And so the other courses that are in that block are also CCP courses. We're only putting CCP courses in that block, and they're taught by some of our embedded instructors here. So right now, Mrs. Wright teaches a government course in that block, and I think there's a third course in the block right now. Students help me, personal finance, thank you. So right now we actually have 3 courses that they could choose from because we had so many students who wanted to take speech that we threw an extra course in there. So students, this is an option. I do want to tell you though that if you sign up for a speech class, I can't guarantee that it will be in this Accelerate block. I don't know the schedule of when they all are, but we can work with you if this is something that is important to you. Okay, I just want to wrap up a little bit by talking about what are called model pathways. Model pathways are, and I gave you a handout, I just want you to see that I've developed 4 model pathways. College websites have more. What are these? This is, if you know you want to go into engineering. This is just, if you ask Mrs. Smearsall, what should I take? It's on that list. Okay? It doesn't mean you have to take them. Doesn't mean you have to take all of them. Doesn't mean you can't take one that's not on there. This is just to give you some ideas. That's all this is for. Now notice this is color-coded, and there's 4 of them, and it's going to look really little up here. But for example, there are several colors on here. There's a key at the bottom. So you can see what those are. It shows you which courses are Cincinnati State, which courses but are taught here with teachers. And online, there are Cedarville courses. You can see what the colors are and what those mean. But the college websites have more model pathways as well on their websites. Okay, I just want to celebrate a little bit. Last year, this school year, CCS students will earn over 1,100 credit hours. 1,100 credit hours during this year. Next year, we will have 20 on-campus courses. I kind of put those out of order. If a student, so how many should they take? I would like to put forth this. This is the first year that I pitched this idea to Mrs. Stone and to the Student Services Department. I think most of our students should be taking at least one CCP class before they graduate. And the one I suggest is English 101. Because everybody is going to have to take English 101. Our English department is amazing. They are very well prepared. And think about it this way. They are about, let's say a senior graduates at the end of May. In August, they're going to be in English 101 anyway. So wouldn't it be great if they just took English 101 here and experienced that they can be successful? Okay, one class. Some of next year's seniors, I will be talking to them and saying, I think you should consider this. Okay? What about some students have a goal to complete 1 semester of college before they graduate? 12 credit hours, accumulating between 9th grade and 12th grade. If they do that, I just want you to see some of the savings. I have 4 sons. This added up to a lot. And I will tell you that my youngest son, who went into nursing, his second year, he walked right into nursing as a second-year nursing student, which is unusual. And, when he was in his 3rd year, and he's young, I said, Caleb, do you think we made a mistake? Do you think it would, we can't go backwards, but let's just think about this, because I'm advising students. Do you think we made a mistake in you doing nursing in 3 years rather than 4? Because he graduated at the age of 20, passed his NCLEX, and was a nurse 2 weeks after he turned 21. And I was like, is he really ready? Okay, sorry, that was a mothering moment for a second there. And he said, Mom, do you remember why we did this? Do you know how much money I just saved? And we helped them some. And do you know how much money you just saved? Of course we should have done this, is what he said. So I just like to share that. Double those numbers if a student cuts off a year for a college degree. And we have a lot of students. Now, I don't pressure students to do this. Be careful, parents. Some of them are pressuring themselves. I talked earlier about how many they should take. Be careful to watch that they're not just signing up for CCP because it's CCP. It may not be best. So keep an eye on that. But we have a lot of students who are graduating with 24 to 40 credit hours. I heard from an alumna who graduated, and when she started, she sent me an email that said, Mrs. Smearsall, at my first advising meeting, they told me I was a sophomore. And because I was a sophomore, I got to sign up for classes earlier than all the other freshmen. So she said, why did that matter? Because I picked when I didn't want to go to class at 8 a.m. And I could sign up for a class later. I could sign up just for classes on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whatever it is. So again, it's not always best, but we have students that are doing that. For some students, though, it's not about finishing early. Some programs you can't finish early because they're sequential in nature, and there's nothing that you can do about that. But if you earn credit hours, you can, for example, we've had students add an additional major, add a minor, or only take 12 credit hours, work a part-time job, not take a loan, and pay for the college part of it while they're there. So there's a lot of different advantages. I don't want you to think that everybody should maximize this, whatever it is there. So, okay. I am going to stop and I'm going to hand this over. We have 3 colleges that are here tonight, and I asked them if they wanted to come and share because this is important for you to hear from them. So they're each just going to come and share with a few slides. Come on up, Tara. I want to introduce Tara Sword. She is the College Credit Plus Director. Is that your actual title? Manager. Okay, yes. She's amazing. And so I'm going to hand this off, and you can either use that or the forward button for your slides.
Perfect. Hi, friends. How are you? We good? So good to be here with you again. Thank you, Mrs. Smearsall. You guys are so lucky. She's amazing. The team here is fantastic. So she's a wealth of knowledge and information. I'm not going to take too much time, but because we do have such a strong and just wonderful partnership here with Cincinnati Christian, I just like to share a little bit about what Cincinnati State is doing with CCP so that everyone's sort of aware. So some information that we like to share, and you guys are a huge part of this. So last year, CCP students from, all the way down to the Ohio River, west all the way out to Talawanda High School, east to Felicity, and all the way north until Kent, took 4,324 students participated in CCP with Cincinnati State. And of that, and this is the really cool part, 34,000 credit hours. That's crazy. Mrs. Smearsall just showed you what you guys are doing as a small school with such robust offerings. So when we put all of that together, you'll see it's no wonder that CCP has grown exponentially in the last, I wouldn't even say, it's been around, I think, this is like the 8th year for it, but in the last 3 years, it has blown up, and it is amazing. So on here, you'll just see a little bit of information about what students are completing. Associate degrees, certificates, the OT 36 certificate, which I'll touch on here in just a second. So there's lots of options. So you guys already saw a little bit of this information from Mrs. Smearsall, but this just lays it out for you from Cincinnati State's perspective. So 3.0 GPA, if you're a little below that 2.75 to 2.99, and then with that, we're looking for A's or B's in 2 years of high school English or math. Now, this middle category of qualification, every college is a little bit different. We set our own standard for that. So make sure when you're deciding where you want to attend or who you want to take classes through, you know what they're looking for. Is it an English or math? Is it an English and math, okay? So make sure that you're knowledgeable and you're exploring that. And the last thing for Cincinnati State, again, if you're a little below and you decide with your team here at CCS that you want to try to test in for whatever reason, those are the markers that we're looking for that remediation-free score. The other thing to know for our 7th, 8th, and first semester 9th graders, we do require a placement test for you to qualify for the program if you don't have a pre-established high school GPA. So then those scores you see up there in the third kind of column would apply there. This is my favorite slide. So I've met Mr. Salmon. He's amazing. Math is not my jam. So I had to math real hard to get these numbers for everybody, okay? So Mrs. Smearsall's talking about all of the options. The sky is the limit with CCP, which is fantastic. We love that. So things that we want you to think about, those gen eds, right? Yes, you need English for high school. Take it once as a CCP class and use it twice, right? 2 birds, 1 stone. We've all heard that old adage, yeah? So same thing with math, your social studies. All of those numbers, when I ran these, I was expecting those. What I wasn't expecting is the very last column. Last year, 27% of CCP students with Cincinnati State took something else. What is something else? Anything. What interests you? What do you want to do when you get older? What do you want to dabble in? What do you want to explore? 27% of CCP students are explorers. And I think that's amazing because we're doing something and we're seeing. I remember getting to college and they're like, here, you'll take this, 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 and this. Okay, cool. I was going to be a teacher. What if that's not what I want to do? And if I end up not liking it, then what? I've paid all of this money to Bowling Green. If you think you want to be a teacher, take Intro to Ed. Try it out. Okay? You think you want to be an engineer? Take engineering, physics, those kinds of things. Mrs. Smearsall shared a story in, I think, in the first hour about a student that withdrew from a class and then said, oh, by the way, I changed my major plans. You know, that happens, okay? Explore. Have some fun with it. Here's our steps. So number one, most important thing, you have to meet all the high school deadlines. If you don't do that, and you come to me, I'm going to be like, did you talk to Ms. Smearsall and Mrs. Miller? Go talk to them, okay? All the high school deadlines. Then you're going to do our application. It's pretty simple. All of the information is in the booklet I have back at my table. Then you're going to have Mrs. Smearsall, Mrs. Miller, one of the student services folks, send your transcript over to us. That's all it takes to get admitted. Then you're going to do orientation so you know how we operate, how to get into Blackboard, which will soon be something called Brightspace. It's fine, we'll get there. It's fine. New systems are fun, right? We'll learn new things together coming into the fall. So, but it will show you how to navigate those things. That way you're ready to go. Our deadlines are there. Now I have adjusted these slightly because of our friends here that do have to apply for state funding. So I'd like for you to apply to the college by March 15th at the latest if you are going to participate. But in my mind, once you've done this, you filled out your paperwork at the high school, your next step is to apply, okay? And then from there, we'll get you admitted, you'll get those letters that you need, and then you can do your funding applications. And then if you have any questions, there is the contact information for my team. They're amazing. We have a team of about 15 people at Cincinnati State. We're there to help. We're there to advise. We're there to answer questions. Parents, if you have general questions, feel free to call me. Now, I can't tell you your kid earned this grade, this grade, this grade last semester, but we can talk about the basics, okay? We talk to parents every day, all right? And all of this contact info is also available in the booklet back there, so make sure to come by the table. So it was nice to see you all, and yay for another year of CCP. There you go, thank you.
Okay, next up, I have Malia from UC. We're very excited. We have a lot of students from CCS who go to UC, and so this has been a great option for them to look into some online classes or even on campus. We had a student who drove to UC Blue Ash, left early, and to take a class there, so we're really excited that you're here as well.
Alrighty, hello everyone. My name is Malia Bricking and I am an academic advisor for UC's CCP program. Very excited to be here today. I actually went to Summit and I'm a swim coach at Roger Bacon, so very excited to be at another MVC school. So, a little bit about why you should choose UC's programs. At UC, as a high school student, you can work towards any one of our nearly 500 majors, minors, and degree programs. And as a UC CCP student, you get all the same benefits as a matriculated student. You get access to our computer labs, our library, all of our tutoring services online and in person. And also, as has been mentioned, you save a lot of money on tuition. And as a thank you for participating in our CCP program, UC actually waives your application fee when you apply for freshman admission. So if we have any juniors or their parents in the audience, you know those application fees can really stack up. So this is one where you wouldn't have to pay. All right, so our admissions criteria do differ a little bit from what you just saw with Cincinnati State. The 3.0 unweighted high school GPA is exactly the same. For us, if you are in that 2.75 to 2.99 range, I don't know why it went forward, but you have to have a B or better in a math class and an English class. You have to have both of those. And if you want to go by test scores, it's an 18 English and 22 math for the ACT, or 480 English and writing, and a 530 math on the SAT. So with our application fee process, it's basically the same as Cincinnati State. That March 15th deadline for summer or fall classes. Both of them are open now for you to go. And after you get your application, you get all of your paperwork done with your high school, you get the admissions decision, you go through our orientation process, you meet with one of our 7 academic advisors, and then you get to register for your classes. So that process, very similar to what you just heard about Cincinnati State. So one thing that we do have at UC that is brand new and we are very excited to get to share with you is our college and career tracks. Now this is pretty similar to the pathways you have offered at your high school, but what these are is our academic advisors for our CCP program have worked with the different colleges at UC to see what classes do they have their freshmen or early students in these majors take. So we have many different paths offered right now that go with different majors, and you can start to kick out those freshman year courses or other classes you would take to get a degree in biology, political science, if you're interested in med school or a PT or OT program, to figure out things that you can get done ahead of time. And we have programs like our engineering programs, and the School of Engineering just came up with an agreement with us that anyone that completes both tiers, so we have tier 1 that you do first and tier 2 that you do second, and if you complete both of those before you graduate high school, there's actually a special scholarship you can get through UC's engineering program, and we're hoping other colleges follow along with that soon. So how the tracks work is first you take any courses that are on the first tier, and then once you complete a tier, you get something that's called a digital pennant. And this is basically a virtual certificate that you can put on your LinkedIn, your college applications, anywhere you want these colleges to see. And we are actually the first dual enrollment program in the country to offer these digital pennants. So you get a pennant for completing the first tier, and you'll get a pennant for completing the second tier. These tracks are not mandatory for our students. They're just something additional that you can opt in if you have a student who knows what they want to major in or know what career path they want to follow. So that's all the information that I have to present to you guys today. I just wanted to keep it short and sweet, but if you're interested in any of our programs, I'm back at that table over there.
Okay. All right. Shelley, you're going to present tonight? Awesome. Our last presentation will be by Cedarville University. We appreciate all 3 of them sharing some uniqueness about their uniqueness. Is that a word?
It is.
Okay, sharing their uniqueness. So, thank you, Shelley.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, thank you, everyone. I know it's late. I know you're tired. I know you're ready to go home. So I won't take a lot of your time, but I want to start tonight by saying my name is Shelley. I'm the recruiter for Cedarville's dual enrollment program. I'm also a mom of 5, and all 5 of my sons were homeschooled. They all earned between 15 and 60 dual credits through the College Credit Plus program. It's been an amazing program for my family, and I know it blesses your family. I want to give a huge shout out to Mrs. Smearzall. All of those things that she was saying earlier about being intentional in your choices, being careful about your time management, were so wise. So I encourage you to use her as a resource every chance that you get. She knows what she's talking about, and Cincinnati Christian Schools could not be more blessed to have her as a resource. So thank you for what you do. So let's talk a little bit about Cedarville. I wanted to share a couple of new programs with you. Of course, you all know now that we are a partner school with Cincinnati Christian. I won't go a lot into our admissions requirements because we have an expedited application with Cincinnati Christian Schools. So please do not go to cedarville.edu/apply and apply to Cedarville. Talk to Mrs. Smearzall. We have an expedited link that you can use. If you're a parent who has some homeschooled students too and you're not part of Cincinnati Christian Schools, then do go to cedarville.edu/apply. We do not accept students who have a GPA below 3.0, so you must have 3.0 or higher. If your student is in grade 7, 8, or 9, They will likely be required to provide test scores to be admitted. If they have taken some high school coursework already, so maybe they took Algebra 1 in junior high, we will consider that, but mostly they have to provide test scores. So that's our partnership. This is super exciting for us. For the first time in fall of 2025, Cedarville University is going to offer online degree programs. So your student can start their Cedarville degree here at Cincinnati Christian School, and they can finish it either on our campus up near Xenia, or they can finish it online. So that's super exciting. That also means that you should know that your student can either take their Cedarville classes here on campus, or they can take them online through Cedarville in summer, fall, or spring. And then we have another really exciting opportunity, which is our Summer Scholars Program. Every student should get the chance to be away from home, live in a dorm with another student for a little bit, and find out what college feels like. So Summer Scholars is a 2-week program that allows your student to live on Cedarville's campus, eat dorm food, have fights with their roommate over what time the lights go out, and all of those things, so that they can experience Cedarville fully. It is this year from June 14th to June 28th. There is about a $500 or $600 fee for room and board that you would pay on top of your College Credit Plus funding for the tuition. Cedarville's distinctives, of course, are our challenging academics. I know the other schools showed their ACT scores that are required for proficiency to take English and math courses or for admission for younger students. Cedarville requires a 21 on the English portion of the ACT and a 19 on the math portion of the ACT. We also have a biblical worldview built into every class. Y'all are here tonight because you love Jesus and you want your children to have a biblically centered education. So Cedarville is known for standing for the Word of God and the testimony of Jesus Christ. And so you will get that in every class that you take at Cedarville University. Every student who comes to Cedarville after high school, they have over 175 majors that they can choose from, but they will also all earn a Bible minor. They'll go to chapel every day, Monday through Friday. They'll participate in discipleship groups. It's a wonderful, Christ-centered community. And then, of course, excellent academic advising. You will get a lot of great advice from Mrs. Smearsall while your children are under her umbrella here at Cincinnati Christian Schools. But you'll also want to collaborate with our academic advisors. Your student will be required to meet with an academic advisor every semester in order to register for classes, and they will help your student navigate things like what classes they need to take from Cedarville and maybe what classes they need to take from our friends at Cincinnati State in order to complete a pathway program. Nursing is a great example. We don't offer anatomy and physiology online for obvious reasons, so we send a lot of students to Cincinnati State to get that class if they're trying to get ahead in their nursing program. We have over 6,000 students, so we're now a mid-sized university. Nearly 2,000 of those are our CCP students. I think I've already mentioned all of these things. We are NCAA D2 if any of you have students who are sports fanatics. And then these are our top 10 degree programs. I won't go through all of them. I know you can read. But I will say that it is unique for a Christian university to have so many STEM programs. So if your student is interested in a science or technology related field, check us out. All right, and you can learn more about our online programs at cedarville.edu/CCP, and you can learn more about our partnership with Mrs. Smearsall. Thank you for your time.
Okay. I just want to say thank you for your time. This is a slide that just sums up what you need to do going forward. Again, this presentation next week will be available. The recording will be available. But make sure you contact me. Sit down. Students, you can start the college applications. Make sure you fill out the CCP applications. Don't apply to Cedarville yet. I will have a special link from them very soon for you to apply. I put questions at the bottom, but I think a better use of our time is to do this. I'm going to close in prayer, and then if you have questions, please come up and ask me, okay? Instead of us taking all of our time, I want to respect your time. Thank you for giving up your evening to come and participate again, some of you for the first time, but some of you, this is your fourth time in this meeting, so I appreciate you. I appreciate your partnership and your willingness to participate in the CCP program. So let me close this in prayer. Dear Lord, we continue to come to you in thankfulness because we are blessed in so many ways. We also appreciate that we can come to you with our requests and that you hear every one of those. We ask you to continue to give us wisdom, no matter our age, as we grow closer to you in our relationships with one another. And Lord, I just ask you to help us be more like Jesus. Amen.